Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, or if you're new, welcome to my kitchen. My name's Amy, and today is part 3 of our Thanksgiving sides. This week, it is all about the potatoes, which are one of my favorite parts of a Thanksgiving dinner. Do I say that every time? I think I just love everything about a huge turkey dinner that leaves everyone just kind of staring off into space because there are just no words. Anyway, so here's the rub with potatoes. Do you go with savory or sweet? Because russets, goldens, reds, they're all amazing and creamy and can become almost anything you want them to be with the proper application of butter and cheese. But what about those beautiful sweet potatoes? I just can't have one without the other, so we're gonna make a recipe for each. One traditional, one a little less, so let's get cooking. We'll get started with our sweet potatoes, and we're making ourselves a sweet potato pie. They're already sweet, so I'm just gonna lean right on into that and go with turning them into a dessert. Start by preheating the oven to 400 Fahrenheit. Now, if you make your own pie crust, that would have to be made before this so it can chill while we prepare the potatoes, but if you use store-bought crust, you're ready to go. We need 3 good-sized potatoes because we'll need about 390 grams of mashed potato flesh for the filling, which is just under 2 cups. Give the potatoes a good scrub and poke them with a fork a few times all over so any steam can get out and they don't blow up. Trust me, cleaning exploded potato out of the oven is not very fun. Put them on a parchment-lined baking sheet and bake these at 400 for 45 to 50 minutes or until the potatoes are cooked through and soft when you stick them with a fork or a toothpick. When they're done, set them aside and let them cool for a bit because we need to be able to handle these without burning our hands. I am still earning my asbestos hands, so I let mine sit for 30 minutes. They were warm, but they were really easy to deal with at that point. We also need to turn the oven down from 400 to 350 Fahrenheit. When you can work comfortably with them, we need to get the flesh out of the potato skins and into a big bowl. Sometimes the skin will come off pretty easily and you can just peel it, like when we all put glue on our hands in elementary school so we can make people think our skin was peeling off. But you can also use a spoon to scrape out any potato flesh that's trying to stick to the skin. Now we just mash up the potato until it's smooth and it looks sort of like a really bright orange pumpkin puree. You can use a manual masher like I am here, or you can pop this into a food processor and pulse it up, or even a high-powered blender like a Vitamix or a Ninja. Add a half cup or 1 stick of softened butter and mash this until you're happy with the consistency and the butter is completely incorporated into the sweet potato. For the rest of the filling, add 1 cup of sugar, 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract, 2 large beaten whisked up eggs, and a half a cup of milk. Now this can also be evaporated milk, but I'm just using regular whole milk and it worked out beautifully. Now stir this up until everything is nicely combined and mash up any sweet potato clumps you may have missed if you see them. And that is our sweet potato pie filling. It looks fabulously orange, doesn't it? Next, line a 9-inch pie dish with 1 pie crust and make sure to trim off any extra dough around the edges. Then pour all of our neon orange filling into the pie dish and smooth it out so it's nice and even, just like a pumpkin pie. Bake this at 350 for 55 minutes to an hour or until the center of the pie is set and it's not jiggly. I would recommend checking it after about 15 to 20 minutes to make sure your pie crust edges aren't getting too dark. If they're browning too fast, wrap the edges of the pie with some foil to keep the crust from burning. When the pie is set, let it cool down until you just can't wait anymore. You can eat this warm or cold, it'll be equally awesome either way. Some common toppings for a sweet potato pie are whipped cream, which is my personal favorite, chopped pecans, maybe a streusel topping, some vanilla ice cream, or the ever-popular toasted marshmallows in a tip of the hat to the classic yet controversial sweet potato casserole. This is like an alternate reality version of a pumpkin pie. It's sort of custardy, like a pumpkin pie, but it is unapologetically a celebration of the sweet potato. With some whipped cream, this is just decadent. And I want more than 1 slice, but I really shouldn't, but I probably will anyway because I'm weak in the face of dessert. But all joking aside, this pie is amazing. This thing is a classic for a good reason, because it's awesome. And neon orange, which just makes me happy. For our next dish, we're heading home to the humble, regular old potato. But being humble doesn't mean not being awesome, it just means not being flashy about it. And potatoes are epically talented at being deceptively amazing. Most times, we all just mash them into oblivion, but they have so much more potential. So let's turn these russet spuds into the beautiful, delicate little flowers that they really are. Let's make some Hasselbeck potatoes. First, wash and scrub these really well because the skins are staying on for these. When they're nice and clean, make sure to dry them off really well with a clean kitchen towel because we're going to be putting oil on these, and oil and water do not like each other very much in a hot oven. So now comes the part of Hasselbeck potatoes that takes a second. The signature of this style of potato is the method of cutting so the potato has beautiful, thin, crispy layers. But you can't cut the whole way through or you end up with thick cut potato chips. So here's how to fix it. Slice just a little bit off one side of the potato so it can sit flat and not roll around. Then place some chopsticks, wooden spoon handles, or spatulas on both sides of the potato. Now we can cut this thing and not have to worry about cutting the whole way through. So make nice thin slices, the thinner the better, about 1/8 of an inch thick. Don't rush, but if you cut through one of the little layers comes out, just slide the layer back in where it belongs, it'll be just fine. When all the potatoes are sliced, spray a baking sheet so they don't stick to it, and place the potatoes so they have plenty of room. Drizzle some olive oil on them, but don't drown them. Just give them a little drizzle to start so they start to crisp up as they bake. Sprinkle them with some coarse salt. Bake them in the oven at 400 for 30 minutes to start. While those are baking, let's mix up our seasoned oil mixture. In a small bowl, add 1/4 cup of olive oil, and then everything else is to taste. We need salt, black pepper, some thyme, dried or fresh will work just fine, and some rosemary. Add 1 clove of crushed or minced garlic, or more if you just want more garlicky potatoes. I would recommend, though, going somewhat heavy with the seasonings so your potatoes have some good flavor on the end. Give all this a little stir, and that is the seasoned oil ready for the potatoes when they're done with their first bake. At the 30-minute mark, pull the potatoes out of the oven and brush them all over with the seasoned oil. There will seem to be a lot of oil, but make sure to get all of it on there. Then pop the potatoes back in the oven for another 40 minutes. This time though, pull them out every 10 minutes and use the excess oil pulled in the baking sheet to essentially baste them with the brush. This is going to make those layers nice and crispy. When the 40 minutes are done, the potatoes are technically done and you can eat them now if you want, but I'm going for something a little more though, so I'm going to smear on a little butter and sprinkle them with some freshly shredded Parmesan cheese because, you know, cheese. I turned the oven up to 425 and popped them back in for another 10 minutes just to get that extra special crispiness going on. So Hasselbeck potatoes have become one of my favorite ways to eat potatoes. The inside is really creamy and soft, but the layers get crispy and really flavorful. I chose the seasonings I did to go with the seasonings that are kind of traditionally rubbed on a turkey, but you can make these potatoes with anything. Onion and garlic and paprika is especially good. You can sprinkle on some chili flakes or even use some chili infused oil if you love the spice because, I mean, we all know that he who controls the spice controls the universe. So experiment. Have some fun with your potatoes this year. We don't need to just mash them into a pulp. We can make them into desserts or craft lovely crispy layers of seasoned goodness. Okay, now don't get me wrong, mashed potatoes with salt and butter and cream and cheese may as well be luscious, fluffy, heavenly clouds and the perfect vehicle for gravy volcanoes. But potatoes have so much more potential than those humble little spuds ever get credit for, so I've been trying to have fun and make something new and interesting with them as often as I can. Thank you so much for watching my video. Please like and subscribe and leave me a comment. It helps out my channel a lot. Let me know, what is your favorite way to make potatoes for Thanksgiving? Make sure to stay tuned for next week because the video will be out the day before Thanksgiving and we're going to make a couple of recipes for when you get hit up last minute and need something really fast. Also, make sure to come and hang out with me on Sundays for yummy, home-cooked, cozy meals. I hope you have a wonderful week and I'll see you back here next Wednesday for some more mouth-watering Thanksgiving sides. Bye!